So now this is invoice process, right? Now I'm going to create one invoice, and now my requirement is the customer has many business, multiple business. With multiple legal entity. Okay. And for this multiple business, I want to automatically change my balancing segment. Here is the example I'm showing. Okay. For example, I have EPIC network channel network, EPIC legal entity, EPIC radio company. I have 3 legal entity, and for that 3 legal entity, I have different balancing segment. And for this balancing segment, whenever I am creating transaction with particular legal entity, that specific account should appear the balancing segment. How can I achieve that? This is one requirement.
Yeah, we have one concept, right? Auto accounting.
But auto accounting, you are giving only one, right? In the business level, I will give one combination. I cannot give multiple, right?
Sir, SLA?
SLA. So that we are going to discuss today. So this is a real-time requirement. So now you understand what are the requirement of invoices, right? Transaction sales, transaction type, etc. Now let me create one invoice and show you how it looks like. Let me go. I have created one custom accounting method. First, what I will do, I will remove that accounting method and show you. How can I remove? I will go to financial.
Sir, could you repeat the requirement again, sir? Actually, I have some network issues.
This requirement is yeah. So requirement is I have multiple legal entity. Okay. And this legal entity has this business, balancing segment 102, 101, 103. And whenever I am creating transactions for particular legal entity, my balancing segment should appear automatically when I am creating accounting. How can I do that? Because through standard SLA, it is not possible. Let me try.
Okay.
So specify ledger option, EPIC primary ledger. So this setup also, this standard setup is created by some like Rajeshwari, our student. But I'll show you how. So now specify ledger option. I have created one custom accounting method. Okay. So I'll change it to standard accrual. If I change it to standard accrual, then I will create one transaction and we'll see. I'll go to a receivable and I will create one transaction. Business unit, EPIC business unit, transaction source, that is means a manual transaction source, right? You pick manual. So now you pick customer. Bill to name is EP customer. So now I'll go to show more. I'll go to miscellaneous. You can see legal entity is defaulting my parent company. You pick legal entity or holding company, and that is 101 legal entity. So I'll create with. So now my expectation is whenever I'm creating with Epic channel network, my company code should 102. And whenever radio company is my legal entity, it should be 103. Okay. So now let me select the first one, Epic channel network. Okay. Description. Test transaction 20 to 1, 1000. Save it. So once you save it, your distribution, this invoice distribution will automatically populate. From which setup it will populate? Your distribution in air transaction. From where it will come?
Financial options.
Not financial option.
Auto accounting
right?
From auto accounting rules, sir.
Auto accounting setup. Auto accounting rule, right?
Yes, sir.
So now you can see 101 is coming. Why? Even if I created for legal entity, my legal entities I selected here. What is the legal entity? Epic channel network, and here my code is 102. But I'm getting legal entity 101 company code. So that is coming from my auto accounting setup. That's the limitation of auto accounting. I cannot, if there is, I'm creating transaction for multiple, because auto accounting rule, I can only assign one view. And for one view, I can assign one company code. Let me show you that. Okay. Let me show you auto accounting setup first. So now this is distribution is 101, right? That is coming from auto accounting. Now, if I am create accounting, first complete the transaction, complete and review. Then I will create accounting. Let me create accounting in draft. Understand carefully each and every step. Where SLA will trigger? SLA will trigger when you are creating the accounting. It will not trigger when you complete the transactions. So see, I'm getting 101 because auto accounting has limitation. It will not convert itself even if we are selecting a different legal entity. So this accounting is wrong. To achieve the requirement, we have to customize our SLA, standard SLA. Because like first I changed my specify ledger option, I selected the standard accrual. This is my standard SLA. But to achieve this requirement, I have to customize complete SLA setup. So now let me show you from where this combination is coming.
Sir, here the requirement is we have multiple transaction lines from different legal entities. So according to that, it should reflect different legal entities.
Yeah.
Is it right?
Legal entity means code, company code.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Because that legal entity company code is the main accounting impact, right? It's based on the company code. We are balancing all our transactions, right?
Yes, sir. Sir, for this, we in payables we have auto accounting, right? Automatic offset.
Payable also there, automatic offset. Yeah.
So do we? I think we have multi-fund accounting something there in AR, right, sir, to configure this.
Yeah, that is multi-fund is different. That is not only company code. There are other accounting impact also there, like other segment also we can do. Here, just I am showing the SLA part. Multi-fund is fine. You can do, but the purpose is multi-fund is different. We can cover if possible. Yeah,
Okay,
so
okay, sir. Yeah.
to manage auto accounting. Manage. Just I am trying to show you so that you will able to understand clearly. Manage auto accounting rule. So this auto accounting setup, it will be used for our transaction distribution, right? Epic view. So per receivable, per revenue, all my segments, it will come from transaction type. Whatever transaction type I will select, based on that, this is my source for revenue account and receivable account, right? So this from this source transaction type, all this accounting will come. So what is my transaction type? Here I can select even other, right? There are salesperson and site, customer side also. I can create, or I can give some constant value also here in auto accounting. So transaction type, I selected Epic invoice transaction type. Epic invoice transaction type. So this combination is populating there in the invoice, right? If you go to distribution, review distribution. Because I cannot change through standard SLA all this accounting because this is not possible. This is my revenue account and this is my receivable account. Okay. Revenue. Receivable account, right? Now my requirement is whenever I'm using different legal entity for Epic channel noter, my transaction should be my accounting should be like this. This is the correct one. Okay, to achieve this, I have to customize my SLA. How can I do that? Okay, so this is coming from transaction type and auto accounting, right? Now let us let me change. So till now we understood that with standard accrual method, who cannot achieve this requirement. So we have to customize our SLA. So let me navigate to specify ledger option. Manage transactions. Let me go to specify ledger option. Epic primary ledger. So now what I will do, I'll change my accounting method here from standard to custom accrual method that I have created Epic standard accrual. Then I will discuss how I achieve this, right? Step by step. Save it. Now go to transaction billing. Again, create transaction accounting. Manage transaction. From Epic business units, I created this transaction, right? So this one I created today, 4101. So let me first again review the distribution. So remember, till completing the transaction, the accounting will not change. The distribution that is coming from my auto accounting setup. Save and close. So more. So my legal entity is Epic Channel Network. Now let me go and create accounting again. Accounting in draft. So now you can see, once I created the accounting, I got the expected legal entity now, Epic Channel Network. So that is the beauty of SLA. Through SLA, you can customize your accounting as per business requirement. SLA is an engine which create your accounting based on accounting rules, mapping sets, and journal entry rule set. You understood how what is the requirement, right? Our requirement is to dynamically change the balancing segment based on the legal entity for which we are creating transactions. Now let us see how we achieved this. First of all, Epic Channel Network, Epic Radio Company, and these are my balancing segment. First, create one mapping set. Okay, I created Epic legal entity mapping set. This is the first step. Okay. Go to
So
here.
just one quick question in this. Sir, I have seen somewhere where one legal entity can have many balancing segment values, because they might have a lot of branches. So what they do is, say legal entity is called ABC, then under ABC they have A1, B1, C1 branches. And those branches, they give the code as company code.
Yeah. Yeah, that is also you can do if the client requirement, but how you will achieve the accounting? Accounting
So,
again.
sir, So, sir, for that, if we choose a legal entity, there are 3-4 branches under it, right, with different company codes. So,
that also you can achieve through custom SLA.
Okay. So this is mapping of if there is legal entity equal to one company code, one legal entity, one
right.
company
Yeah.
code.
Similarly, in a different way, we have to customize XML, your SLA.
Okay.
So SLA, it is not any like hard and fast rule. There are many
Right.
ways you can customize SLA
Right.
because we have lot of transaction attributes and transaction attribute source from where you can get your accounting or you can define your
Right.
account. Okay. So this is just one of the example. So manage mapping set, right? I'm explaining step by step so that no steps will be missed so that you will not able to understand. Manage mapping set. Open it. And this mapping set I created. In mapping set, you will see what is my output type. Okay. My output type is segment, chart of account segment. Subledger application is receivable. Okay. And input source. Input source means what is my legal entity. When I'm creating the transactions, what is the legal entity for which I'm creating? So my input source is legal entity that I have to put. But how I can get that? Transaction legal entity identifier. Oh, legal entity identifier means legal entity ID. When you create any setups like business unit, ledger, legal entity, in the backend it will create one ID for each and every setup. Even if transactions also, invoice you are creating, payment you are creating, ID will be created as an identifier in the backend. So you have to take that as an identifier as an input source. Second thing, chart of account. For which chart of account you are creating the mapping. My chart of account is EPIC chart of account. Then segment. Segment, na, we created mapping for segment. Then you have to specify which segment. I am looking for company segment. Okay. Then mapping set value. What is the input source? Legal entity identifier or legal entity ID. That you can get from front end also, you can get legal entity ID. Just query the legal entity and you can be able to see the legal entity ID also. So get that legal entity ID and map here to the respective company code here. I did here like this is legal entity ID for EPIC channel network and this is the company code. Right? So you can add many more legal entity ID here based on you have 10 legal entity ID. You can assign here. So it's a recurring things you can update anytime. This mapping set. So okay, save and close.
Sir, where we will getting that ID, sir?
ID front end you can get. I'll show you. Okay. If you go to general ledger, manage legal entity. Manage. Hey, you can see here legal entity ID, right?
Yes, sir.
So if you select any legal entity for ID will be available here. Similarly for BU also you can get BU or ledger. Okay. What is the next setup? We created our mapping set. Then we created account role with that mapping set. Go to account role. Account role. That's for my role I created, which matrix user, right? This one I created, EPIC account role. So my chart of account is EPIC instance. This is my accounting rule. And under rules, you can see value type. I am using the mapping sheet. There are a lot of things like you can check, mention here constant value, you can write formula, or you can give the any other source. But my account will coming from mapping sheet. So that's why I created mapping sheet and select the mapping sheet name which you created. So in this rule, you can get your values from 5 different attributes. Mapping set I created, then condition. I don't have any condition, but you can write condition if you want. For example, I want this kind of accounting only if the transaction source is BO. Or I want this kind of rule if my transaction type is this. So this kind of source condition you can mention. Or I need only for this customer. Okay. Or if the item is transaction item is transaction item category is this, then only I need this accounting. So you can restrict the SLA behavior in the condition. But currently I don't have any condition mentioned. I want this accounting will be applicable for all my transactions and transaction source. Save and close. Then what is the next step? I created my account rule. Then EPIC journal entry rule set. Journal entry rule set, I have to assign this accounting rule. Yeah. Go to manage journal entry rule set. Sorry. Manage subledger journal entry rule set EPIC. So EPIC, I created this EPIC invoice accrual rule set. Okay. So in journal entry rule set, you'll able to see all the line type like credit line, debit line, and for each kind of transactions, each kind of journal line, invoice, freight, revenue, receivable, invoice tax, unbilled receivable. So these are the journal line, and for each journal lines, you can attach your custom account rule here for each of the segment. Oracle will give you the standard account distribution. Even if you don't select any custom transaction, Oracle will create from this. This is a standard one. But now for each and every segment, if you want to customize value, account combination value, for each segment, you have to create custom account rule. So currently I have created only for company roles or legal entity roles, right? I created. So I attached my rule to the respective lines, which my invoice revenue line and receivable line I attached. Invoice default receivable. If you want this rule to be applicable for all kind of lines, you can attach here all, like invoice tax, unbilled receivable, or unbilled revenue, unearned revenue. So everywhere, if you want this rule to be applicable, you can assign to the respective line. Okay, save and close. What is the next step? So I created the mapping set. Then I created my account rule. Then journal entry rule set. Now next step is I have to create my custom accounting method. Okay. I created the accounting method. Go to manage accounting method. My accounting method is EP credit. In EPIC accounting method, you can see for each event class, we have rule set defined. These are all standard rule set. What we have to do, we have to copy the accounting method, the same accounting method, standard accounting method, and create a new one. So I copied the standard accrual, created a new, and I disabled the standard one, like for invoice event class, I disabled the standard one. I created a new one. Well, that is here. And here I assigned my custom rule set. Okay, the standard one which was created here, invoice default accrual, I disabled this end dated. So I created one new one, right? EPIC invoice accrual. Save and close. Now the same accounting method I have to assign to the ledger. That's the last step. Okay. Assign the custom accounting method to ledger. Once you assign the custom account method, then your custom account combination will be effected. It will impact your accounting. You are able to understand, right? Any question?
Sir, now since we have changed your SLA, sir, so in the system, the entries which are already existing, then that also will be changed, sir?
No, like which we are already posted, right?
Yes, yes.
Posted to GL, right? That will not change.
Okay. So now changing this SLA, now where all it will impact, sir, apart from this transaction?
So based on the kind of invoice class or event class you are assigning. Currently, only I have assigned this custom rule to the invoice.
Okay.
You can assign, you can create for receipt also or adjustment also. If you go to journal entry rule sheet, you can see here. Let me open any one of the rule sheet. Not this one. Epic invoice accrual, right? My event class is invoice here. So you have to decide what is your event class. Currently, I have created this only for invoice class. Invoice. So this you can do for adjustment, bill receivable, chargeback, receipt. Okay. So based on event class, you have to create one custom accounting rule set and assign your account rule. As I need this for invoice class of invoice, event class of invoice, I assign my custom account rule here. And within the event class, I have different invoice line, journal entry line. Which journal entry line you want to create the custom accounting? So I selected only the invoice revenue and receivable. If you want for all, you can assign. For example, I want for invoice tax, right? A big account group. That also I can assign.
Sir, if I want for one type of expense category, I have to select instead of receivable, I will have to do it for the expense module.
Expense module. What you want to do in expense module?
So basically, if I choose an expense category, based on the expense category, sir, cost center would change.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So you are telling about like customizing the SLA for expense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do.